Stakeholder Analysis. All stakeholders have a claim on the project, and they all are demanding attention from the project leader. But there is a limited amount of time and attention that the project leader can afford to give. That is one reason why it's so important to understand more their claims for attention based on three simple attributes: the power of a stakeholder, their legitimacy, and their urgency on their claim. This is the basis for the stakeholder salience model. Stakeholder salience is then defined as the degree to which project leaders give priority to competing stakeholder claims. The model was developed by Mitchell, Agel, and Wood to help managers identify and analyze project stakeholder needs. In this model, the three attributes are represented by circles. Power is the ability that project stakeholders have to influence the outcome of deliverables of a project. Legitimacy is the authority. It's the level of involvement project stakeholders have on a project. Urgency is the time expected by project stakeholders for responses to their expectations. This three-dimensional view of project stakeholders' needs and expectations from a project can help the project leader narrow down the analysis and identify the most critical stakeholders. The salience model for project stakeholders is graphically shown as a Venn diagram. Each parameter has a major circle, and the intersections of each major circle helps identify project stakeholders that have multiple needs. Each area of intersection is related to a specific type of stakeholder. These types are dormant, discretionary, demanding, dominant, dangerous, dependent, definitive, and non-stakeholders. These 7 stakeholder categories can be used to understand stakeholder behaviors, their impact on the project, and help the project leader form a strategy to prioritize their demands on the project. These 7 characteristics can also be grouped into 3 categories: core, expect, and latent. Core stakeholders have all the attributes. Expectant stakeholders have only 2 of the attributes, and latent stakeholders have only 1 attribute. The dormant stakeholders have only 1 attribute, latent type, which in this case is power, but do not hold any legitimacy or urgency on the project. They have power to impact the project, but also have little or no interaction or involvement in the project. The project leader should monitor them on a regular basis, such as to assess the impact their actions may have on other project stakeholders. They need to be involved periodically, but should not be ignored. The discretionary stakeholder. These stakeholders are of the latent type. They are perceived with legitimacy, but without power and urgent claims. Due to their legitimacy, the project leader will try to fulfill the requirements and interact on a periodic basis. They need to be communicated regularly to provide status updates and progress reports, and as possible to involve them in the project. Demanding stakeholder. These are stakeholders with high urgency, but low legitimacy and low power. They are of the latent type. This is a type of stakeholder that has high demands on the project and asks for attention. The project leader should try not to spend too much time with them and limit their interactions. The project leader can delegate the relationships building to a project team member. Dominant stakeholder. These stakeholders are of the expectant type, with power and legitimacy, but no urgency. They have considerable influence on a project's outcome as well as its deliverables. It's best to manage them closely. However, since the urgency is low, they will be ranked below the core group. The project leader can manage these relationships by understanding their expectations and involving them on a periodic basis. The dangerous stakeholder. These are stakeholders that are of the expectant type with high power and high urgency but low legitimacy. And that is what makes them dangerous. They have the power to demand attention and will try to influence the project outcomes, but have no legitimacy on the project. The project leader will need to manage these relationships with caution because they might jeopardize the project success. Using formal communication channels, the project leader should try to keep them engaged. The dependent stakeholder. These are stakeholders of the expectant type with high urgency and high legitimacy, but low power. Since these stakeholders have low power in the project leader doesn't need to manage their relationships too closely, but they are important for the support they can provide to the project. The project leader should try to involve them in their areas of interest and keep them informed on a periodic basis. The definitive stakeholder. These stakeholders are of the core type. They have high power, high urgency, and high legitimacy. They are the most critical of all stakeholders and have maximum impact on the project outcome. The project leader needs to pay special attention to these stakeholders and manage them closely. It's critical for the project leader to build a strong, positive relationship with these stakeholders by focusing on trust, transparency, demonstrating commitment, and open communications. Non-stakeholders. This group of people are not stakeholders of the project. They don't have power, urgency, or legitimacy. The project leader doesn't need to waste time and effort trying to build relationships with these stakeholders. The best approach is to monitor them occasionally to see if they have any changes in their level of power, urgency, and/or legitimacy. As a general rule, the project leader can use the following levels of engagement. Yellow, leading stakeholders. The project leader should give limited level of engagement. Orange, the expectant stakeholders. The project leader should give a higher level of engagement. Red, the core stakeholders. The project leader should give immediate priority to these stakeholders.